Brace yourselves, Indianapolis, because a massive financial earthquake just hit our locker room out of nowhere. A rival team just paid absolutely insane money to their guy, which means our most vital offensive weapon is about to cost us a true fortune. The clock is ticking fast on this brutal negotiation, and the stakes have never been higher for the horseshoe. Do not miss a single second of this crucial update. Crush that like button right now and subscribe to the channel immediately so we can show the whole league the unmatched power of Naptown. The price of retaining our star guard, Quenton Nelson, has officially climbed higher following the latest developments in the NFL guard market. As we reflect on his tenure, Nelson stands as a foundational pillar of this franchise, having arrived as a high draft pick and earning 8 consecutive Pro Bowl selections, the first player in Colts history to achieve that milestone in his first 8 seasons. Our fan base deeply values his presence as the centerpiece of our offensive line, and seeing him anchor the trenches has provided us with a sense of stability that is rare in modern football. This is where it gets real, as the Atlanta Falcons recently signed Matthew Bergeron to a 4-year, $96 million extension, creating a new benchmark of $24 million in average annual salary. With Nelson entering the final year of his current contract and set to carry a $24.2 million cap hit in 2026, the contrast between his storied resume and the escalating market costs creates palpable anxiety among Yus supporters. While Nelson has expressed his love for this team and his teammates, the fact remains that no new contract discussions have been announced by the organization. The core of the matter is whether owner Carly Ursay-Gordon and general manager Chris Ballard are prepared to reset the market for a veteran who has already earned 6 All-Pro selections during his illustrious career. As we look at the financial landscape shifting under our feet, we have to wonder if the Colts can afford to keep their captain, or if the rising price tag makes an eventual departure a mathematical reality we are simply not ready to face. The most jarring reality facing our front office today is that the cost to secure Quenton Nelson long-term has likely eclipsed his original record-breaking deal from September 2022. Because the Atlanta Falcons just committed a massive 4-year, $96 million contract to Matthew Bergeron, our favorite cornerstone guard is positioned to reset the market once again. And here's why that's a big deal for owner Carly Ursay-Gordon and general manager Chris Ballard. Historically, this organization has always prioritized the trenches. But with Nelson entering the final year of his current contract while set to carry a $24.2 million cap hit in 2026, the fiscal math has grown incredibly complicated. We have seen this movie before when the team had to decide how much to value veteran leadership versus pure salary cap flexibility. Yet Nelson is a unique case, having earned 8 consecutive Pro Bowl selections since entering the league. Behind closed doors, Coach Shane Steichen and the front office are surely weighing whether that level of consistency is worth another historic investment that could hinder spending elsewhere. They know that younger players are developing, but losing a 6-time All-Pro during his prime would send a difficult message to the locker room. It is a classic high-stakes dilemma for any franchise committed to winning in the trenches. The pressure is on to determine if keeping our most decorated blocker is the final piece of the puzzle, or if the rising tide of league-wide guard salaries has simply pushed this partnership to a point of no return for our budget. Now that we have covered the breaking news, let us analyze what this financial shift actually signifies for our path forward. The bottom line here is that the recent market adjustment in Atlanta forces the front office to reconcile the immense value of a franchise cornerstone with the harsh realities of our future salary cap. With Quenton Nelson entering the final year of his deal while carrying a $24.2 million cap hit, we are effectively staring down a high-stakes deadline that could fundamentally alter our roster composition for years to come. If we cannot find common ground with our veteran guard, we risk losing the interior stability that has been the bedrock of our offensive line since his arrival. This uncertainty impacts every matchup on our schedule because our ability to protect the quarterback against division rivals remains our greatest tactical advantage. Losing that continuity would make the job for Shane Steichen infinitely harder as he game plans to keep us competitive in a tightening AFC South race. If our line begins to churn, our playoff hopes take a direct hit, especially considering how much this coaching staff relies on consistent veteran leadership to navigate the grind of a 16-game season. We are watching a significant pivot point in team history where Chris Ballard must decide if the price of consistency is worth sacrificing depth elsewhere on the depth chart. As Indianapolis Colts fans, we know all too well that elite production from a leader like Nelson is a rare luxury. Yet, in this modern league, paying the premium for that talent requires difficult trade-offs that will test our front office at every turn during these upcoming months. The prospect of securing Quenton Nelson for the long term carries massive upside for our organization because he remains the bedrock of our offensive line, providing the kind of leadership and consistency that builds championship cultures. Keeping a 6-time All-Pro anchor who has earned 8 consecutive Pro Bowl selections ensures that our protection remains stable while our young teammates continue their development. What makes this even bigger is how the current market is trending, as recent deals for Matthew Bergeron, Tyler Smith, and Trey Smith suggest the price of elite interior play is only going up. However, we must weigh the significant financial risk, as committing such a large portion of our salary cap to a veteran guard could limit our flexibility elsewhere on the roster. While his resume is undeniably historic, paying top-of-market rates for a player entering his 30s is a gamble that GM Chris Ballard must evaluate carefully against the need for depth. Analysts are closely watching how this plays out, especially since the market is essentially being reset by players with far less individual recognition than Big Q. It creates a difficult standoff between rewarding loyalty and maintaining fiscal discipline. Here is where I land on this. While I respect the necessity of managing the cap, I believe some of the panic regarding his looming contract is slightly overblown. It feels like the organization is waiting for the right moment, and I trust that common ground will be found to keep him in Indianapolis. Ultimately, his presence is worth a premium, provided we do not sacrifice our ability to build a balanced, competitive team around him as we push for another deep postseason run. When we combine the rising market for interior linemen with the reality of our current roster, we get a clear view of a pivotal crossroads for the franchise. The Atlanta Falcons recently signed Matthew Bergeron to a 4-year, $96 million extension, creating a new benchmark that directly impacts the future of our longtime pillar, Quenton Nelson. And the more I look at this, it becomes evident that the Colts are facing a significant fiscal decision that will define our salary cap flexibility for the next several seasons. As Indianapolis Colts fans, we should feel a mix of pride and anxiety heading into the season. We can take comfort in knowing Nelson remains an anchor for our offensive line, having earned 8 consecutive Pro Bowl selections and 6 All-Pro honors. Yet the financial math of a new contract is undeniable. Maintaining such a high level of talent requires a substantial investment, and the team must balance rewarding our core leaders with the necessity of maintaining a competitive, well-rounded roster. It is a classic dilemma of rewarding past performance while protecting our future agility. Does the resume of a 6-time All-Pro like Quenton Nelson justify resetting the market even higher than the $24 million annual salary recently secured by his peers in Atlanta? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. For the shoe, I'll see you in the next one. But before you head out, drop a comment below with your own thoughts on this massive contract debate. Your engagement truly helps our